What's going on, you guys? It is day 3 for our Digging Deeper in December challenge, our program, our workouts for this month that we're doing together because we know that it can be tough to stay on track around the holidays, especially when there's a lot going on. But I can promise you, if you can commit 30 minutes a day to doing these workouts with me, I promise you're going to be better for it. Now, today's an active recovery day. And what that means is we don't just not do anything, okay? We're going to do some yoga today. We're going to do a 30-minute yoga session. You guys are going to see a little reminder up here that doesn't just say, hey, do 30 minutes of yoga and then that's it for today. I'm going to encourage you to get outside or to get on a treadmill and walk for 45 minutes intentionally, okay? That means I'm not just walking the dog, going to the mailbox and back a couple of times. I'm intentionally walking. That means I should have my heart rate up and I should be getting in some good movement for today. So every Sunday and every Thursday for this month with our December workouts are going to be active recovery days. So that way we have a break in between strength workouts that we're doing. We can recover, we can focus on some things that are actually going to help us with our progress even more. So with that being said, for the month of December, invite somebody to join you. Maybe that's someone that's already on the team, already in the group. Maybe it's someone that hasn't joined just yet, and they could get in on some free workouts and some things that can help move them forward with their progress and their goals. I'm telling you, if you find value, I promise you there's someone in your life, at least one, probably 5, 10, maybe even 15, that would love to be a part of something, but they don't know where to start. So that's my encouragement for you today, is find one person to invite, or find a few, but at least, hey, spread the word. If it adds value for you, like I know that it does, invite someone else to do this with you for this month. I can promise you, you'll make a huge impact in their life. Now we're going to start with yoga this morning, okay? It's morning for me. I know it's dark, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever that you are. I'm just proud of you for showing up for yourself today and knowing that you get to give yourself this time. So I'm going to start my timer, and we're going to go for a full 30 minutes for today, okay? So with this being said, we're going to have a complete basic run through of yoga today. This is actually what's called level 1 yoga or level 1 poses, really the beginner level of things. And the first thing that I want to talk to you all about and to teach you is breath work. Now, a lot of the time we don't actually breathe like we think that we do. We take shallow breaths. When we get really stressed, we start to notice that a lot more. So what I want to teach you is how you can also use this to help, honestly, manage stress better in tough times. Even if you're having a hard day, but also understand that when you come to this mat, when you come to this space, when you come to practice yoga with me, you know what you're centered in on, and you're giving yourself permission to hear and feel your breath and just center in on yourself. So your mind, your body, your soul are important. They're all connected, and it first starts with your breath. So we're going to start with the four corners of our feet and almost kind of rock back and forth to where you get a good, solid, confident stance. Maybe your knees are slightly bent. Maybe you're standing a little bit taller. Relaxing your shoulders as you come down. Your fingertips are going to be spread, hands placed right next to your side. You can keep your eyes open or closed, whatever that you're comfortable with. As I go through this to show you how to do the breath work, I'm actually going to close my eyes. It helps me focus in on hearing and feeling my breath. I'm going to teach you how to do this. So as you stand here, whether eyes open or eyes closed, as you inhale through your nose, I want you to envision a string like pulling your head at the top. And then as you exhale through your mouth, you're hearing and feeling your breath, and you're almost imagining that breath going through your body all the way to the soles of your feet. Now we're going to do that for 4 more breaths. So breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Same way, 3 more breaths. Going in to lift. Exhale to release. Hearing and feeling that. I hope you can practice this with me. Again, one more time. Exhale to release. Last breath here, make it count. Inhaling through your nose to lift. And exhale to release. Good. Now from here, what I want you to do is just start movement with breath work. So we're going to bring our feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart. We're not going to do anything crazy. We're just going to move with our arms as our breath is going in and out. So I'm going to breathe the same way, inhaling through my nose, exhaling to release through my mouth. But I'm actually going to slightly bend my knees, bringing my palms up to reach up overhead and bringing them back down slowly as I exhale. So it's going to look like this. You can hear and actually take note of how my body is moving with every breath that I take. So we're going to be here for 3 breaths. So going in to lift and exhale to release. Again. One last time. Good. Now, what we're going to do from here is actually go into our tabletop. So I'm going to show you all from the side, but essentially we're going to get down on our left knee, transition to our right. Tabletop essentially means what it sounds like, okay? I'm going to make sure that my fingertips are pointed forward. My wrists are going to be in line with my shoulders, so I want to check that alignment first. And my knees are going to be in line with my hips. So essentially, you're going to be able to feel. If you're too far out, you're going to be able to feel that, right? And so what I want you to do is just check in first with your alignment. And we're going to start here at tabletop. Now, tabletop also means we don't want to have our back too rounded. We'll actually get to a pose that is similar to this. We also don't want to have our tailbone too high. We don't want an arch. We want to essentially come to midline, really thinking about keeping that strong core, almost as if something really important is on your back and you're trying to balance it, okay? Now we're going to start here, and what I want you to think about is, again, movement with breath work, okay? So we're going to go into what's called cat-cow. So if you've ever seen a cat stretch, right, we take notice that the cat rounds its back, right? So what we're actually going to do is, again, movement with breath work, and we're going to stay in this tabletop as we transition into these 2 poses. So our cat pose is actually an inhale. So we're going to bring our navel in on that inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to gaze forward as we lift our tailbone, almost as if we're pressing up off of the floor. Then coming back to center, right back into cat. And then exhaling right back to cow. So we're going to stay here for 3 breaths. So I want you to just flow through this as you need to. Again, giving your body permission to do so. And we're going to meet back after the 3 breaths, okay? So as you inhale, coming in. Exhale to release. You got 2 more breaths right here. Remember to lift your gaze forward. Good. If you want to do it one more time, just stretch it out just a little bit. We can stay right here. If you ever have lower back pain or issues just feeling tight in your back, definitely a good one from here. Now we're going to come back to neutral, and we're actually going to transition into what's called a spinal balance. So we're going to stay in this tabletop. Now, spinal balance is simple. We still want to keep our back straight, but what we're going to do is actually align and strengthen, but also stretch our spine. So I'm going to lift my right arm forward. My fingers are going to be pointed forward, almost as if I'm pointing in front of me with this straight line. And I'm going to bring my alternate leg back straight out in front of me as I balance this way. Now, what we're going to do is focus on a 3 breath rotation. So again, we're using the same deep inhale to lift, deep exhale to release, but you're doing it in a way that really connects with what pose that you're doing. So if I'm doing this spinal balance and I start with my right arm, my left leg, I would come forward as I inhale. Hold that so your toes are pointed towards the ground, fingertips are pointed forward. We're going to stay here for 2 more breaths. Release on that 3rd exhale. And we're going to switch to the other side. So left arm, right leg, breathing in. Keeping a good balance. Don't drop your leg. Again, take note of how you feel. Last one right here. Good. Coming back to center, back to tabletop. Now, what I want you to do from here, we're going to go into what's called child's pose. So if some of you have done any type of yoga before, or even yoga stretches, you're probably familiar with this. So we're going to bring our knees slightly wider than hip width apart. I'm going to stretch my hands out in front, almost as if I'm going to kind of come back onto my toes to do a push-up, okay? But what I'm going to do is really give myself the opportunity to push off of the floor. And as I'm doing this, I'm bringing my hips back, but I'm dropping my chest to the floor, to the mat. Okay, so if you want to lightly place your forehead on the floor on the mat, absolutely can. But we're going to come back into this child's pose. And as you still focus on the same inhale and exhale, as you may inhale and lift, maybe that means you come a little bit forward, but then as you exhale to release, you sink back a little bit deeper into this child's pose. So I'm going to let you do this at your own pace from here for 3 breaths. And I want you to really take note of how your body feels. Give yourself permission to go as deep as you need to, but also not going any farther than what your body needs right now. Last breath right here. All right, now you're gonna come back into your tabletop. Sat my mic down just for a second so that I didn't make sure that it wasn't too loud. It's a little bit different as I'm placing my forehead on the floor. So with this being said, we're gonna come back into tabletop. All right, I want you to check your alignment of your wrists to your shoulders, your knees to your hips. All right, and we're just going to reset, rotating side to side. So hip rotations are important because a lot of the time our hips can be tight. We have a lot of little ligaments and tendons and joints and little tiny muscle groups in our hips. And a lot of the time we don't stretch as much as we should, all right? So we're going to start side to side first, staying in this tabletop as we come back to center. Now we're going to go counterclockwise. So we're going to bring our hips forward, sitting back just slightly, almost as if we're just focusing on drawing a big circle with our hips, okay? Coming around this way. I'm going to go counterclockwise. 3 rotations. Again, I want you to take note of how you feel, okay? If you can't go farther than you may think, that's okay. All right? Now coming back to center. What I want you to do from here is I want us to go into what's called a kneeling plank, all right? So we're going to bring our hands out almost as if we're going to do a push-up. We're going to bring our knees slightly back. So some of you that have done assisted push-ups before, you may be familiar with this. Now we're going to drop the top of our feet to the floor, to the mat. And a kneeling plank really starts up in this high plank position. But what we're going to focus on is breath with movement. So it's almost as if we're doing a slow plank to push up, but we're not going to stop when our elbows reach 90 degrees. We're going to come all the way down flat to the mat, to the floor, and then come right back up. So as we inhale, we're going to come all the way down, and then exhale, coming up, back up into that kneeling plank, okay? We'll take a breath in between and coming down on that inhale. Exhaling to release up. Breath in between. Still keeping that same mindset to hear and feel your breath. Inhaling down. Exhaling to release. Last breath in between. Now, we're going to stay in this position, but I want you to bring your toes to the mat, to the floor. We're going to go into downward dog. Okay, so downward facing dog. Another one like child's pose, a lot of us are probably very familiar with. As I come up on my toes, I'm going to slightly bend my knees, walk my hands back, but as I drop my head, almost as if I'm bringing my forehead to my knees, I'm letting my hips come back, but I'm pushing up off of the mat. And I'm staying here almost as if I'm in like an inverted V. Okay. So if you're not super flexible, and maybe all that you can do from here is bend your knees here, right? Maybe you're not fully able to drop your chin to your chest and push backward. That's okay. Remember, we're here to give our bodies permission for what we can do and how we feel. So this isn't a competition. We're letting go of expectation, competition, any type of judgment. Just hear and feel your breath. Give your body what you can handle, what you need right now. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths. Same mindset. Inhaling to lift, exhaling to release. Last one. Coming back down onto our knee, right where we left it with that kneeling plank, okay? And what I want you to do from here is we're really just going to rotate into a seated position, okay? So whenever we do this, instead of just coming back on our feet to sit down, we're going to come back into tabletop, okay? Bring your knees forward. We're going to sweep our feet to the right side, coming back into a position where we are seated on the floor on the mat. And we're actually going to lay back for this next one, okay? I'm going to teach you all the next pose, which is knees to chest. And if you have any type of lower back pain, or we're working on just core strength and strengthening right now, this is going to be really good for you. So we're going to do this in 2 variations, so 2 different ways, okay? Now the first one is more isolated. So what isolated means is that we're going to do one leg versus the other, but we're going to do this in more of a core strengthening focus. So what I'm going to start by doing is raising my right knee. I'm going to elevate my right heel, okay? And I'm going to take both of my hands, interlace behind my right knee to bring that knee towards my chest. Now I'm not just going to leave my left foot on the mat. I'm actually going to bring it out in front of me, toes pointed towards the ceiling, to focus on this core strength. This is actually a strength and like strengthening movement, because as I am holding this stretch, bringing my right knee to my chest, I'm also strengthening my core and my balance. So one thing I want you to think about is where your lower back is. Is it arched? Are you using your core to really focus in and bring that lower back pressing into the floor? We're going to stay here for 2 more breaths. Slowly bring that left foot down. Release your palms, bringing your right foot down. And we're going to do the same thing on the left side, okay? So lifting that left knee, heel comes up as well. Right leg is coming out right in front of us. I'm going to bring that left knee towards my chest as much as I can, keeping that right leg elevated, toes pointed towards the ceiling. Core is also focused on. So I'm bringing my lower back into the floor, into the mat with this to focus on my core. We're going to stay here for 2 more breaths. Same inhale through your nose. Exhale to release out of your mouth. Now slowly place your right foot down. Release your hands. Place that left foot. Now we're going to do both knees at the same time, bringing our knees to our chest. So I'm going to take each of my left hand and my right, grabbing behind my knees, pressing the inside of my knees together, and bringing them to my chest. Now with this variation of knees to chest, you should feel your lower back pressing into the floor, into the mat. So we're going to stay here for 3 breaths. Remember, we just want to hear and feel our breath. Give yourself permission to just focus on your breath, not to worry about anything else going on right now. Good. Now we're going to keep the inside of our knees pressed together, and we're just going to slowly rotate from left to right, almost like a light massage on your lower back, just to give it a little bit more pressure to release any tension, any tightness. Maybe you have soreness from this week. I know a lot of you guys know I'm big on yoga for lower back pain, especially if you have sciatica, if you have a bulged disc, if you have an issue that causes you a lot of discomfort, maybe from sitting or standing. It's a really good movement to focus on. So we're going to come back to the center. We're going to release both of our hands, bringing our feet back down onto the mat. I'm going to take both of my hands, place them next to my hips, use them to help me lift up forward. And what I want you all to do is just come up into a seated position with me. And we're just going to focus on resetting here in this seated position, okay? Now, whenever you reset, I want you to think about drawing your knees into the mat. This can be hard because even if we try to flex our quads, we still notice our self-release. So bring your knees into the mat. Lightly place your hands next to your sides. Toes are pointed up. And we're going to start here for 3 breaths to reset, okay? So again, lifting as we inhale through our nose. Exhaling to release. 2 more times. You can keep your eyes closed if you need to. Last time. Good. Now what I want you to do is slowly come over onto your stomach. So I almost come over to the right side of my mat. I roll my hips to that laying down position. We're going to come up off of our chest, come up onto our knees, walking our feet forward, and I'm going to meet you back in our mountain pose, okay? Now, as we reset into our mountain pose, we're going to finish this routine today with some of our standing poses. And so we're going to reset right back into mountain. So remember how we started. 4 corners of our feet. If you need to shift back and forth to be where you are comfortable, absolutely do that. Palms, fingers are spread. Chest is tall and confident. Shoulders aren't tight. Shoulders are relaxed. Okay, whether you have your eyes open or your eyes closed, whatever works best for you. But we're going to still envision, hearing, feeling, seeing our breath move up and out of our body. And we're going to reset here for 3 breaths. Last one. Good. Now again, we're going to do some breath with movement. So I want you to inhale up. Exhale, we're going to fall forward into forward fold. What this means is I have a slight bend in my knees coming forward down, either placing fingertips or placing your hands on the mat, on the floor, right in front of your toes, falling forward completely. Maybe if coming down this far is uncomfortable, that's okay. Again, give your body permission to do what you can. We're not forcing anything. We're not trying to compete. What I want you to do, if potentially this is too difficult, I want you to stop at the halfway point. want you to use your palms, take hold of right where your elbow is, where your arms bend, and I want you to just stay holding in this position. Now, if holding this position is difficult even in a static movement, I want you to focus on just allowing your body to naturally shift side to side, almost as if you're rocking a baby in your arms. Kind of envision it that way. Or again, it can be more static, meaning we're not moving, we're staying in the same position. Take one last breath here. Rising as our arms lift. Exhaling to release. Right back down for 2 breaths. Coming up out of this pose. Exhaling to release. Now we're going to stay here where we are. We're going to go into what is called chair pose. Now for some this may be difficult, but we're going to do more breath with movement through this versus keeping it as a static hold. So if I were to do this chair pose as a static hold, still going to place my palms out in front of me, but as I inhale, I'm actually going to lift sitting back down just like I was in a chair. I want you to take notice of where your feet are, keeping your toes pointed forward, coming up, exhaling to come back down. So if I show you from the side, palms are going to be in the same place. Toes are pointed forward. We're going to inhale, coming up. Exhale to release. Good. We're going to do this for 4 more breaths. Inhale up. Exhale to release. Keep going. Last one. Good. Now I'm going to meet you. We're going to turn towards the long edge of our mat. If you're not on a mat, if you don't have a mat, just be where you can spread your feet a little bit wider for these last 2 that we're going to do, and we're going to finish up this routine with, okay? Now, one of my favorite ones is actually called a sunflower. And what we're going to do with the sunflower is we're going to lightly or slightly point our feet towards the corners of our mat. So they're not pointed directly to the left and to the right. We're going to focus on just right at an angle. So they're not forward, they're not to the side, okay? Just at an angle. Now, a sunflower is similar to how we did breath with movement using our arms in the mountain pose, okay? But we're actually going to almost envision like we're grabbing something off of the floor as we do this using our legs, right? Using our legs for strength as we bend our knees. So what this is going to look like is I'm going to lift coming up as I inhale, exhale to release, lifting up off the floor. One fluid motion. So join me when you're ready. Good. Last one. Good. Meeting me back at center, bringing those palms down. Now we're going to transition to what's called moonflower. Very similar to sunflower, but instead of keeping my arms straight as I come up, right, and we're still going to bend our knees, we're actually going to bring our arms out in an angle, okay? So when you think about this, our moonflower is more of a upper and a lower body movement. So I'm not dropping my hands or my arms at any time. I'm keeping them here. This is more of the down position as my knees are bent. As I inhale to come up, making a big X, exhaling, coming back down. Inhaling up, exhaling to release, We're gonna do this 3 more times. Inhale up, exhale, keep going. Last one for good measure. Coming back up, dropping those arms. We're gonna walk our feet forward. We're gonna finish in our mountain pose, of course. Now you can finish seated. Sometimes whenever you practice yoga, you may notice that the instructor will have you lay down and just focus on your breath. I'm a big believer in that. If you have a minute or two as we finish, lay down, center yourself with your breath. It can be on your back, on your stomach. Don't fall asleep on the floor, especially if it's early in the morning, okay? But again, focusing on the same breath work, like we're gonna close out here with our mountain pose. Just hearing, feeling, envisioning your breath and focusing on that so that we don't have to focus on everything else that might be clouding our mind in our day, in our morning, wherever that you are right here, right now, okay? So we're going to finish in mountain pose. So again, rock back and forth if you need to. Center yourself on the 4 corners of your feet. Palms are placed next to your side. Fingertips are spread. Taking a deep breath to relax my shoulders. Standing tall, confident, and strong as I inhale up and exhale to release. Remember, hearing, feeling, experiencing your breath. We're going to do this for 4 more breaths. Three more. Two more. Last one. You know, open your eyes with me. You can shake out your hands, your fingers, wherever that you are. And honestly, just the end of all of this, and I'll tell you, I wasn't someone that really believed in yoga to begin with, but it really does help center ourselves. So we're going to stay in a standing position for our last breath together. Movement with arms over our head as we inhale. Bringing our palms together to heart center. We're going to finish here. So most will say namaste. I'm going to say have whatever type of day you need right now, but hopefully it's a positive and productive day. That's my little joke. That's kind of rhymes with namaste, but not really. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I am brand new to instructing, practicing, and really utilizing a newer yoga certification that I've been completing this year. So any feedback is welcome, positive, good, bad, ugly. Let me know how I can improve. Let me know what you thought about this. Check in the group. Let me know what you thought. Let the team know what you thought. And don't forget that every single day that you show up is one more day that you're casting a vote for you. You're making time for you. And you are worth being proud of how you take care of yourself and how you show up for yourself on a daily basis. So don't forget to invite someone into the group today. Encourage them to do the workouts with you, or just find value in it in some way that you know will help them with whatever that their goals are. I appreciate you guys being here with me. I appreciate you guys being part of our incredible team and tribe. And I'll see you guys here tomorrow for our EMOM Monday as we finish off this Sunday. So happy day 3. I'm proud of you. Now go get your walk in if you haven't already. I'll see you guys tomorrow.